Let's get to the next clip. This one's called "We Got Another One, Boys."
And I know people are like, oh, Rogan did what he thought was right. Agree 100%. And thank God Rogan did that to a certain extent.
Now, context of this short clip is that he's talking about the time, the legendary moment where Joe Rogan said, I think you'll be surprised, right?
If you had a wrestling match with Cain Velasquez, how well do you think you'd do?
Straight up wrestling?
Yeah.
I think people would be surprised.
Really? You think so?
Mm-hmm.
I think you'd be surprised.
You guys don't remember that little small recap here is basically Joe Rogan said to Brendan, like, hey, I think you should quit fighting because you're not elite enough. Maybe you should just pursue comedy, right?
I think you'd be surprised.
Mm.
I really do. I you up. And I say that as a friend and a guy who loves you. I think he's just on another level.
Brendan, I guess in hindsight is kind of just saying how he actually feels now. Here's the clip here.
All this to say, and I know people are like, oh, Rogan did what he thought was right. Agree 100%. And thank God Rogan did that to a certain extent. But also, if that Rogan wasn't such a close friend, I would have said, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I've been doing this day in, day out with the best in the world. I know exactly how I stack up against these guys.
That's the thing, though. Like, Joe was there when Brendan lost fights, right? He was a commentator there. He saw him get beat up.
So that's where I'm going. Me going, I think you'd be surprised, is me going, you kind of don't know the way the sausage is made. Now, you've seen it, but I'm talking the way the sausage is made being on those mats.
It's still like chomping at him, right? Like the way that Joe, I guess, in a way dissed him and said, hey, man, I'm your friend and you suck at fighting. And Brendan is saying, like, the good thing about Joe is that he's a friend. And if it would be anybody else, I'll say, F off, right? Basically.
But also, if that Rogan wasn't such a close friend, I would have said, you don't know what you're talking about.
Let me know what you guys think about that.
I think you'd be surprised.